They loved doing the work. They didn't really like the motive behind it. They didn't like working for the insurance companies, being able to charge customers arbitrary numbers and squeeze out what they can. And so they said, you know what, we like helping people, but let's do it for the people, not for the money or the insurance companies.
Welcome to Local Living Tri-City, your go-to podcast for exploring the vibrant communities of Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee. Join me, Liz Jones, as we dive into real estate insights and local business stories, bringing you closer to the heart of our Tri-City area. Let's get started with today's episode.
Hey everyone, it's Liz Jones with Local Living. Welcome back to this episode. Today you'll see my guest. This is Erica, and Erica works with 5-Star Restoration here in the Murrieta area. Welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. I appreciate it.
You got it. So we share space inside a BNI local chapter. And for those of you that don't know, BNI is Business Networking
International.
This is going to be our opportunity to dig deep. And since there's plenty of properties that we experience that have some major issues, Erica's company has been there for people since 2016.
Yes, that's when we started.
I thought it was important for them to go through the kind of things that they see, the kind of disasters they help clean up, and how they help put people's lives back together. Let's talk about it. Again, welcome. Thanks for being here.
And thank you much. As you mentioned, I'm Erica Henderson with 5-Star Restoration. It was a pleasure to welcome you into our BNI chapter, and you've since then made us better. Thank you. What 5-Star Restoration does, we are a local family-oriented restoration company. We got started in 2016. A couple of our owners, Kevin and Daniel, they worked for restoration companies. They loved doing the work. They didn't really like the motive behind it. They didn't like working for the insurance companies, being able to charge customers arbitrary numbers and squeeze out what they can. And so they said, you know what, we like helping people, but let's do it for the people, not for the money or the insurance companies. Let's do it for the people. Let's kind of even the playing field. And since 2016, that's what we've done.
Wow.
So when there's so many things that can happen in a home or business, whether it's a pipe burst at 2 a.m. or a fire that sends a family scrambling before Christmas, we're just the folks that come in, try to calm the situation, let them know that we've seen this before, and we're going to help you through it. We're going to be the light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to give you some education so that you're not getting bamboozled by anybody. We're going to be super transparent, and we're going to walk with you hand in hand as if there was a family member that you had that worked in this industry. That's what we want to be. We want to be your extended family that when you have a home or a business property damage, say, I'm going to call my family at 5-Star. They're going to help me out. And that's what we do. So like you said, pipe bursts, fires, mold, anything that you think of that happens in a home or business. Yeah.
Let's see. So I've seen a couple of homes, blue tarps on the roof.
Oh, yeah.
The dry wall is starting to peel. We see some dark matter up at the top.
Yeah.
I've seen all of that.
You've been around a lot.
Is that something you guys help with?
Absolutely. So in the industry right now, it's very up in the air. Insurance is tight in California. You don't know if you're going to get dropped if you put a claim, but at the same time, you've been paying for 20, 30 years that you had your home. Well, we're going to say, hey, this is what it will cost to fix it. And then whatever works for you and your family, that's how we're going to do it. We're not, oh, yeah, you need to call your insurance company, you got to put a claim, even though you're afraid that you're going to get dropped. That's not what we do. Whatever the situation, big, small, we are just going to give a clear understanding of what it takes to get it fixed. So like you said, if there's some paint peeling, you mentioned the blue tarp on there. So there was some wind-driven rain.
Right.
Now they had to get tarped, and now you have some water intrusion. We'll give you a fair price on it, what it will cost, and then we'll let you decide. Do you have a savings? Do you know what your deductible is? Do you know what that means 3 years down the line? Then you and your family come to a decision, and then we help you go from that way. So we're not pushing any sort of agendas. We just want to make sure whatever fits right for the family, that works for.
Right.
So any type of, something small to something catastrophic where the drywall literally is falling down, we'll take care of it.
So I have a couple of stories I want to share, and you might have your own. I have a client right now we're finishing up something, and he was telling me we were finishing the disclosures, and he made a note in one of the disclosures about a time where he was in a bathroom that's in the front of his house, and he stepped barefooted on the floor and felt it warm. And, figured out that is probably a problem underneath the foundation. So nothing showing through. So he made a phone call to his insurance company. His insurance company said, is there any water damage? Is there any findings in the house? And the answer was no. It's just, no, there's a problem there. And they said, we don't cover it if it has not made any physical damage in the house. It's yours to own. In that case, he ended up paying someone to come in, drill down into that floor, find the broken pipe, which was through his hot water heater, right? And then he'd made a decision to repipe the entire house. I'm not sure how they'd go about doing that, but that's something you could help people with?
Absolutely, yeah. We don't do plumbing, but we have plumbing partners. We have real estate partners like yourself. We have plumbing partners. When a customer calls us, we like to be that first call. We don't have any charges for that. We just have information, education. So if somebody calls us, Erica, it does feel warm on my floor. Can you send somebody out to come take a look? Yeah. Absolutely. We send out our technicians. We verify. We check with our moisture meeting. So what we do is water, fire, the stuff that happens after the plumbing. So we work really well with those partners of ours. So it looks like you do have some moisture because there will be some moisture in the material. It may not be overflowing to the naked eye where you can see, but we have, moisture meters, thermal imaging cameras that can see those issues. Yes. And then we say, hey, we need to get a plumber out here so that he can open up the foundation. That's a very expensive operation. And so if he does need the assistance of his insurance, we can then prove that, yes, there was moisture here. It is, not wear and tear. It is something sudden and accidental. We can help him fix that. But again, if that's not what he wants to do, if he wants to say, I'm selling this house, I don't want to claim on it, I have the funding, it's an escrow, let's use that. We'll do whatever makes sense for the homeowner.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any stories?
Oh, yeah, I can't even tell you. I can, and some of the things happens normally when folks aren't sure if it's something that they should be worried about. Yeah. Recently, let's say the beginning of the year, January, February, I had a neighbor of mine and they see my car out there. They're always like, I just want to ask you, we had our dishwasher. It leaked forward. My husband pulled all the dishes out. He put some fans. It was about a week ago. I think it's okay. I said, let me send my team. Let me just check. Well, my team went out, checked in the cabinets. Every bottom of the cabinet was completely saturated, which means all of their cabinets, and they have 4 small children, 4 kids under 10. Oh. So, to a 2-year-old that's crawling on the ground, if they would have just left it like that, that's going to be full of mold, full of mold. So we were able to document it. In that case, they did want to use their insurance because of full kitchen cabinets. They called their insurance adjuster, someone that we work with often. We were able to explain. They did try to mitigate it themselves. One of the biggest responsibilities that you have is to try to mitigate the losses as soon as they happen. She did. She tried. They put some fans, and then she wanted to double check. She called our team. We were able to put them through insurance. Unfortunately, we were able to take their toe kicks off, and so we were able to dry it out. So we didn't have to pull all the cabinets, but she did catch it. She did call us, she did double check, and we were able to make sure that it didn't get worse. And we were able to save most of the cabinets.
Oh, that's great.
And run it through insurance.
Because she had proof on that.
She had a $500 deductible, which for her,
that's low. Yeah.
And I was explaining the costs that would come out, and she said, I just don't have more than the $500 right now with the economy and the way things are. I said, no problem. We explained what it would be, and that was her choice. So she chose to use insurance. We were able to help her with the documentation, and now we're in the process of getting her home put back together.
That's great.
So we protect, we help, and then we rebuild.
Yeah. Have you ever walked in a home and you just can smell there's something going on? I'm sure you've seen a lot of those.
Oh, yeah, especially once it starts getting hotter. These people are leaving their ACs on, then they freeze up, and then they melt off. And that's up in the attics. You don't really see it a lot. But then the summers gets hot and it starts going on. Then you notice the staining on your drywall, and then you're like, okay, we need to get somebody in here. You can smell the mold. And what it is it's just those spores, that are growing and keep growing. And as long as there's a water source, or if there's an active water source, it keeps happening, freezing over, melting, freezing over, melting. It's just going to keep growing. When you do have certain spores of mold and growth, it can be dangerous for your family.
And I've heard that too. I had a family that lived in it. They were renting in an environment that was messed up, and they had kids that were sick all the time.
It does happen. We use certain precautions when we're cleaning. If there is topical growth that you can visibly see, we're going to be in PPE. We're going to put it in a containment so that it's not spreading through your home. Yeah. So we really take care of the people that are in the homes. That's really our mission. It's like somebody has a problem, and we're not doctors or lawyers or paramedics, but every time we go into a home, we're helping someone, and we take pride in that. We love helping people, and we love doing it for the right reason.
Let me ask you, what is five-star charge for a visit? And I'm thinking of the tenants really don't have power. And obviously, if you can prove there's a problem by hiring your company, then what will happen is they can take that report to their landlord, and their landlord now has an obligation to get things fixed up.
So we are not a hygienist. When somebody thinks they have mold in their home that they can't see, they're going to need a hygienist first. So hygienist is what's going to come out, test the air to see if there's mold spores. Now it's not something that we do, but of course we have partners, right? So if you have that and you need someone, give Erica a call. A different story where we can help right away is if you open your cabinet and you see mold there, give us a call. Because that's something that it's already, you have water damage. It's starting to get worse and we can absolutely affect. So property managers, with tenants, we're a wonderful resource for property managers. They give us a call. We don't cost anything for us to go out there, but then we give them an honest, detailed reason of what's going on. We're going to lessen their liability for the homeowner that you mentioned, for the property manager, so that their tenants it's not a liability for them and we're taking care of them. So property managers are we're a great hand for them because we can take care of their tenants. And then if the tenant has an issue, they can give us a call. We can loop their property manager in or their homeowner in, but without being confrontational or adversarial. That's not what we're doing. We're literally just trying to help folks. When that's your heart, when that's your mission, it's super easy to get that message across that we're only trying to help you and your tenant. We want to lessen the liability for you.
Yeah. I've actually had a couple family members that attempted, and back in Florida, we have a lot of water issues with floods.
Oh, Florida, the humidity.
Yeah.
I lived in Savannah, Georgia.
Same thing.
My skin was great, but my hair, not so much.
I know that a lot of times when the waters flood in, there's a requirement to cut out so much of the drywall to get rid of the damp stuff. Is there any kind of rule of thumb or principle that companies like yours live by about when something has to come out?
Absolutely. So we live by the ANSI/IICRC. So that is our fundamental, sounding board. It's what we follow. It's our standards. There are standards for water damage, mold damage, fire, contents removal, cleaning. And so we live by them. We continually educate ourselves on them. And so there are, and follow them very closely. There's classes of water based on how it can grossly contaminate areas and how much potential damage it could do to a human. There's category 1, 2, and 3, with 3 being, the worst, or gray water where it absolutely has to be removed. But then as you mentioned, if it's a clean water source, we want to do at least a flood cut, everything that was touched by water out. And so typically you'll see a 2-foot cut around the home. And that's everything that was touched by the water until there's a dry area. So drywall is very porous. So anything that's porous is going to hold on to that water, and we either need to remove it or make sure that it gets dry if it's clean. Now, if it's a porous material and it's gray water or water that has a high chance to grossly contaminate something, we have to get rid of it. And so there are very strict standards that we abide by so that we're not getting anyone sick. And again, our heart is really into the family, so we don't want to put anybody else's family at risk. We think if we had this happen in our house, would we want someone to follow the protocols to get it cleaned? And the answer is always yes. So we follow our protocols. We make sure that we are continually educated on them. All of our technicians are trained and certified. And so it means a lot to us to follow by that IICRC standard.
Now, let's say stuff happens, dishwasher overflows, you're losing the whole bottom row of your cabinets, and it's a reason to take it to the next level. Okay, I've got to replace the bottom cabinets. Maybe I should replace the countertops. Maybe I should do the uppers. Absolutely. How does that interact with your company? Obviously, you're into restoration, but does it partner with?
Oh, it does. And so we are a general contractor as well. So when I say we protect and rebuild, the rebuilding portion is that. And so we do have partners. So if you need an ADU built or a business built from top to bottom, that's not 5-star restoration, but I can direct you to somebody who I trust and work with often. But if it's a kitchen remodel after water damage or just a bathroom remodel, that is something we can absolutely help with. We're general contracted. We have a carpenter on staff that's been carpeting 30 years. We have a really expert folks, but our bread and butter is our restoration work. If you have your kitchen damage, like you mentioned, all your bottom cabinets, and we've negotiated with your insurance company or, we've given you a fair price, we're going to say, hey, this is what it would cost to upgrade your cabinets here. We already have a carpenter. We already have a painter. Would you like to see a better, best,
That's a
option of how you can improve your home and the value of your home? Or would you like to just stick to putting it back to what it is? We don't ever dictate those options. We always give the option to the homeowner
right.
based on what their family, maybe they've been saving for 15 years and this is what's going to push them over to get that kitchen redone. But maybe they just don't have that fund yet and they're going to wait for it in a later time. So whatever that family's needs are, we're going to give them the options.
That's a great thing.
As a realtor, the value of the home, especially after a loss, can be a big improvement. Just getting those upper cabinets to match the lower cabinets and having a little bit of an upgrade, granite, modern look. And we can definitely do that. Yeah.
That's a great option. I know a lot of times people don't recognize in the buying and selling process, there's a questionnaire that comes between the homeowner and the buyer. And on the questionnaire, it talks about, has there ever been any insurance claims? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people forget, or they had it fixed and it doesn't occur to them. Like I know that story I was telling you about the homeowner did not receive any money, but still decided to do work. That actually pointed out, once the homeowner makes a call to the insurance company, it registers a claim, whether or not there's dollars exchanged. I've learned that in more than one case.
So as soon as they have an adjuster assigned, it's a claim, whether it goes through or not.
And not everything is going to deliver a return. Your insurance is there for those big things. Your hot water heater burst, some big one that goes out a lot.
Slab leaks, things like that. But if it's a small stain on the ceiling, we're going to let you know it's going to cost this much. Is that worth your deductible or the possible risk of not having that insurance or your rates going up for a few years? And we let the homeowner decide. You are absolutely right that you have to think about the return on your investment of what you've been putting into your insurance, on your home, on your dollar. Is that going to give you the value that you're looking for?
It makes sense that if you have some water damage, a broken pipe or something, even before you call your insurance, you maybe give 5-star call so that they can come out, assess the situation, and then you bring it to the insurance company.
Absolutely.
You'll have an idea, and you're filing a claim. They may require an adjuster to come up.
We work with them. We don't work for any insurance companies, but we work with them all. We're not adversarial. We're always trying to help and bridge the gap between the homeowner and the insurance company. So we're always just trying to help. So if they need documentation, if they need us to be on site to walk them through what happened, the homeowner, they don't have the technical knowledge all the time, but they don't have the technical knowledge or the terminology to use. But this is what we see every single day, and we're able to help bridge that gap. And again, if it's not needed, we're going to let you know. If it's not something that we can help out with, that if it's not, if it's only a plumbing issue, we can tell that there's nothing wet. We've used our meters and there's nothing wet. You just have to get your flange changed on your toilet. Then we're going to let you know. There's nothing for us here. Here's a great plumber. Here's a few plumbers that you might be able to call that work in your area. Give them a call. They're all fair, reasonable. They'll be able to help you out. So that's how we'd like to be the first call, because it's never a waste of time for us. It's always a chance to get to know someone, make sure they don't get bamboozled or taken advantage of, because that's really our whole mission, to be the contractor for the people. We want to be there to help. I'll tell you, I don't make the most money doing that, but I have a beautiful life. I'm able to help people have my weekends and a lot of restoration work. That's not the case, because it's always go, 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 try to get the most, squeeze everything out, energy out of the customer. But that's not our mission. We are trying to help folks. We're trying to live our lives, be good people, make it to the end.
So if somebody has, let's say, an average restoration, how many days, weeks does it take from the day it happens to the day you guys are packed up and out of our lives?
That is a loaded question. It could be just so many. Just think of all the different sort of houses you've sold. And the little intricacies, how many nooks or lofts, the type of flooring, LVP or carpet or engineered wood. There's so many different things that could happen. I'll give you the process of how it works instead. The first thing that happens is someone gives us a call. They say, 5-star, we have something going on, we need your help. We then dispatch a team within 60 to 90 minutes. If we can't make it in that time, we're going to refer somebody who can. Because if you have an emergency, we don't want you waiting an extended amount of time. We send somebody out. Then he gives a transparent, educational, say what's going on, showing the homeowner or business owner exactly what we're doing, what we find, what our findings are. Then they decide how they're going to do that. If they're going to go through insurance, we ask that early on because there's so much documentation needed. And we want to make sure that all those steps are hit and we're not missing anything so that there's no problems. We'll figure out how they're going to go through it. And then the mitigation happens, meaning the removal of the affected material. So if something's wet or something caught on fire, something's moldy, we're going to go and remove that material. However big it is. If it's a huge house and the whole house is getting gutted, that may take 4 or 5 days. If it's a single room like this, it'll be a day, we'll be done. But then we need to make sure that it's dry. So we're going to clean and sanitize everything. And then we're going to make sure that we are adding the drying equipment. We're reaching a dry standard, so there's no secondary damages. There's no mold. There's no loss afterwards. Once that's done, so that usually takes 3 to 5 days, that demolition portion. So from the time you call us to the time it's dry, it typically is 3 to 5 days. And after that, we'll come out again, assess what we've removed, and put together a reconstruction estimate. The homeowner or business owner approves that. Within 24 hours, we get a team out to see how much drywall is needed. Then drywall, paint, flooring, whatever it may be, just moves on step by step through the reconstruction phase. And then after reconstruction, we're not done there. We give a 2-year warranty for any work. We're going to call and check up on you after that first year to say, hey, how's everything working out? Do you have any issues you need us to stop by? We're just going to always keep checking up on our customers. We go through the process step by step for each, whether it's big or small. We're always going through those steps to make sure that nothing's falling through the weeds so that everybody's getting that 5-star touch each time.
I love that. Now, how about if someone is maybe not sure if they're going to go through insurance? What usually is the down payment, get started, when is payment due, what kind of stuff on that?
Okay, so for mitigation, if someone is using insurance, it's a large loss. I'll say our president of our chapter had a slab leak, like a hot water slab leak, and it took out the entry, and it was under the stairs. So it took out his living room, dining room, family room, downstairs restroom, and hallway. We already finished with the drying portion, and now we're getting into the reconstruction portion. It's a much larger project. We finished the mitigation. We're moving into reconstruction. We're having somebody out on Monday. It will be completely finished within 4 weeks.
Wow.
So he'll start to finish, 4 weeks of the project will be done.
And now, does he pay a down payment to get you guys started?
So I forgot to answer that. He hasn't paid anything.
Yeah, insurance.
He hasn't paid anything. So he's using insurance. And he has a deductible. With your insurance, whatever your deductible is, you owe that to your insurance company. We've documented every aspect of dropping the equipment, drying everything out, and then we turn that over to his insurance company. It's very regimented. We document everything. We turn that over, they review, and then they send us a payment less his deductible. The same thing with the reconstruction. We go out, both the insurance company and us do an estimate. We come to an agreement based on industry standards, and then we go from there. We let the homeowner know every step of the way what's been approved, what's in the estimate, what hasn't been approved, what's been disputed, if there's anything. There's 1,000 different ways to skin a cat, so you can do things differently, but we want to get to the same, we want to be on the same page with them. Then we come to a same number. They send the homeowner the check for that amount. We get in contract with the homeowner, and then we take draw payments. Once the drywall is done, we'll take a payment, but he already has the money from the insurance. Then all the way through the end, once it's done, then all of our steps are checked and we're done, we're paid. We document it and we do it in steps so that it's easier for the homeowner and for the insurance, and we're just kind of explaining throughout the way what's going on.
I love it.
We try to be transparent.
Obviously, if you're facing something like this, it could be intense and stressful. I hope you've seen the heart of 5 Star and how they really are caring about how you feel, how to make this smooth and seamless. So obviously it's a first call. If you're here anywhere in the area you service.
Oh, yes. Riverside County, North County, San Diego. We don't go into LA or Orange County, not because we don't want to, just we can't get there. We want to get there fast. It's an emergency service. But for anyone who needs us, if you give us a call, if we can't get there, if it's out of our area, we'll find someone that we trust, that works like us, and we'll get them a referral for you.
Well, after this, we'll make sure we have a link to get back to 5 Star Restoration so that you can reach out to Erica and her team And hopefully you won't need the services, but you'll always know somebody.
We always say, we hope we never meet you in a situation where we have to help you. But if we do, we're so glad that it's us here to help you. When we leave a homeowner, we say, we hope that we never see you in this situation again, but we hope that we do see you again. Anyone that needs our help, even if it's not us who can do it, give us a call. We'll try our best.
Awesome. Is there anything you want to tell our audience before we close up?
No, just that if you need to buy or sell a home, this is the gal that you go to. You know that already from watching, but she's such a joy to be around and to be an acquaintance of. And so I appreciate you.
And I appreciate your professionalism and your caring for the customer. In today's day and age, that's something very hard and rare to find. And I believe that it's been displayed as long as I've known Erica, several months now, that's been consistent for her whole team and the whole family that works behind 5 Star. So thank you very, very much. Thanks for being a guest here today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
This, and we'll have to get together again.
Let's do it again. Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Until the next time, guys,
Thank you
I'm
much.
Liz, and this is Erica with 5 Star Restoration. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Local Living Tri-City. Stay tuned for more insights and stories from Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, and surrounding areas. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend that is passionate about the Tri-City area as you are. Goodbye for now, and we'll see you next episode.